Hello everybody and welcome to the first episode of AM and the PM News for the week of May 20th, 2013. Again, if you're not familiar with what this channel is, I highly recommend you check out the introduction video for this channel. That way you get a bit more clarity as to what it is this channel does. So if you are familiar with what's going on here, let's go ahead and kick off the first episode of AM and the PM News. So let's go ahead and kick off this video with tech news. As I mentioned in the beginning of the week, Xbox had a big announcement announcing its latest generation console, now officially titled the Xbox One. Xbox is making a big stink about wanting to be your one place for all your entertainment needs. But on top of all of that, it all apparently works with hand gestures and voice commands. In the press release, we actually got several examples of how this works. You close a tab by doing something like this, and you can ask your Xbox things like what's on HBO and what's happening on ESPN, and it'll show you the cable listings for whatever it is that you asked for. You can also turn on the Xbox just by saying Xbox on. And just other little voice commands and things like that that work seamlessly, apparently, with this new generation of Xbox. But also, they did a lot of things with ESPN, and they added fantasy football integration. So now, in real time, it can update your fantasy football stats, which is kind of cool if you're into that sort of thing. Xbox's Kinect also got an upgrade. The latest version of Kinect can now distinguish between your wrist and elbow movements and between your 5 fingers. It knows more about your joints. It knows a lot more about your muscle movements. Also coming out of the press release is a brand new controller. I mean, it's really nothing revolutionary. Apparently this new controller has better vibrating systems or whatever it is. It's supposed to be a better vibrator. Which I'm pretty sure makes a lot of people happy. One thing that was kind of weird is that it didn't have a touchscreen as the PlayStation 4's new controller does. I'm sure that was expected to come out from Xbox's new controller, but it wasn't. So I guess we'll have to live without the touchscreen on a controller from your new Xbox. Xbox also got a refreshed interface. This new one looks a lot more like Windows 8. But one really big thing that's making a lot of people mad is that it's not backwards capable. Meaning you cannot play your Xbox 360 games on this new generation console. But you know what, after a while, a lot of people kind of forgot about it. You know what I mean? So as of right now, yes, a lot of us are really upset that the Xbox One will be playing our Xbox 360 games, but when the new Xbox One's games come out, I think we're gonna forget about it. So I guess it really doesn't matter ultimately, but as of right now, yeah, it really sucks. Another really big thing that's making a lot of people mad is now when you buy a used game, you have to register it under your account, and if that game has already been used, you have to pay a fee. So let's say your friend has a latest Call of Duty game and wants to bring it over to play at your house. In order for his game to work on your Xbox, you have to pay a small fee to get it to work. How small that fee is, we really don't know at this point, but it really sucks that in order to play a game with my friend at my house, I have to pay a fee if he already has it. I mean, that really does suck. I mean, what are they doing? What are you doing, Xbox? What are you doing? But also, that kills a lot of really big game renting companies like GameFly, GameStop, Blockbuster rents games too, Redbox. I mean, there's a bunch of really big game renting places that are going to be killed by this new fee feature thing. But other than that, there really isn't much else that came out of this press event. We still have a lot of questions about the latest generation Xbox. So just to reiterate, a lot of the really great things that are coming out of this new Xbox actually have to do with being an entertainment box. And the things that people don't like actually have to do with the gaming aspect of it. I don't know, it's kind of crazy, and I'm sure it makes a lot of gamers mad that the gaming part of this Xbox is a lot more difficult than it would have been otherwise. But I digress. Let's move on. In somewhat interesting news, big tech websites have been reporting that iOS 7 is going to get a fresh new look. Websites like CNET, TechCrunch, Mashable, and 9to5Mac are all reporting that iOS 7 is going to have a black and white, more flat design. Lately running around YouTube is a lot of really awesome concepts for this new iOS 7's flat design. In the link below, I'll go ahead and leave you my favorite concept But again, just remember it is a concept and not the official iOS 7 design. Apparently, being that this new design is flat, we're going to lose the rounded edges around the apps to get pointed ones. Apparently, it's supposed to look a lot more like Windows 8. I'm actually kind of excited to see what ends up coming out of this new iOS 7. I really hope that something does change. iOS is already kind of boring, and it seems like Android is constantly changing, constantly upgrading, and doing a lot of really awesome things, whereas iOS seems to be staying pretty much the same. So it's kind of exciting to see what might come out of this. And being that it might be black and white kind of raises a few eyebrows as well. Also in tech news this week, one of the 3 big search engines, Yahoo, purchased Tumblr this week. In an effort to appeal to a younger demographic, Yahoo purchased Tumblr for $1.1 billion. Yahoo also promises to not screw it up. In quotes, I'm not kidding, they literally said that. For sure, Tumblr has a lot of really young users, and I'm pretty sure that's why they are so determined to purchase Tumblr. Apparently, the new Tumblr under Yahoo will implement a lot more ads, as well as drive users to search using Yahoo. So with big news coming out of Xbox and something interesting happening with Yahoo, that's pretty much all the tech news that came out this week. Let's go ahead and move on to movie news. In big movie news this week, Joss Whedon, the director of both Avengers 1 and now Avengers 2, appeared on Jimmy Fallon this weekend. While on Jimmy Fallon, he announced that 2 new characters were coming to the Avengers franchise. These characters are Quicksilver and Scarlet Witch. I'm personally not too familiar with either one of these characters, but from what I've seen in pictures, these guys are actually kind of cool. They're a brother-sister duo, and I have absolutely no idea how they are tied to the Avengers at all, but apparently these guys are actually from the X-Men series of characters, but somehow they're also tied with Advengers guys, so I really don't know how this is going to play out, because there's also going to be a new X-Men movie coming out pretty soon, so this would be kind of interesting to see if they also appear in the X-Men movies, almost tying a bridge between the 2 series, the Avengers and the X-Men, being that they're both Marvel movies. I guess that's not too exciting, being that it's really just a confirmation and not so much like plot or anything, we just know they're coming. So that could actually bring up a few things. I'm not too familiar with the comic books, so I really don't know what this means, but it is a thing, it's happening, and Joss Whedon himself has confirmed it. So there's something to look forward to in Avengers 2. Okay. Also in Marvel news this week, apparently Sony was rumored to give up their rights of Spider-Man. I'm pretty sure you know that Spider-Man is a Marvel character, but what you might not have known is that the Marvel movie makers don't have the rights to Spider-Man. Sony does. Apparently they were going to sell it back because Sony's broke apparently, but if you wanted to make money, why would you sell your biggest moneymaker? I don't know, that doesn't make any sense to me, but apparently it was just a rumor, it's not true apparently, but it was a big thing that happened this week. It still might be possible, but it's pretty slim, being that it would not make any mathematical sense, and I really hope that they don't, but at the same time I do, because some of the Spider-Man movies are kind of crap, and if they were to give the rights back to Marvel, Marvel could then actually implement Spider-Man into these newer Avenger movies, or some other sort of set of stuff that could possibly come out, but with Sony owning those rights, Marvel can't do anything with Spider-Man. So that kind of sucks, but I really don't think Sony's going to be doing that anytime soon, but they might, I don't know, doesn't matter, yeah. Also in big news this week, we learned a bit more about Jurassic Park 4, or what we think is Jurassic Park 4, or what might be Part 4. It's very confusing now. So Sam Neill, who was in the first 3 Jurassic Park movies, had an interview this week and talked a lot about Jurassic Park 4. He talked about not being in this new film, which is kind of upsetting, because he was like a big part of the first 3, but he also raised a bunch of eyebrows when he mentioned that Part 4 is going to be a Re-Jig, which doesn't make any sense, because Re-Jig isn't really something that movies do. They don't re-jig, they either reboot or remake. But then that gets really confusing because they both mean 2 different things, and he didn't say either one of them. He said rejig. So are we getting a reboot or a remake or rejig is what we're getting. I don't know what that is. And that's confusing because already the difference between a reboot and a remake is so blurry that, I mean, it's so hard to tell the difference between the two, or at least to explain the difference. Apparently a remake is when you have the same characters and the same storyline just done again. So like a good example of that would be like Footloose. Like there was an old one and now there's a new one with really bad actors, and it really sucks. I don't know why they redid it, but it's just basically just one movie. A reboot is when you do a series of movies that come out, that you start from the beginning, like the Batman movies, like how like Tim Burton did it before, and then now like The Dark Knight happened with whoever it is, like that. So now we don't know. Now we don't know if it's even part 4, because if it's a Re-Jig, meaning a possible reboot or a remake, that means they're starting over. So does that mean it's still part 4, or does that mean it's like the Jurassic Park beginnings, like a prequel or something? Which would really suck. I don't think I'd be very interested in watching something like that. Actually, just kidding. I would watch it regardless of what it's about. But still, I don't think I want it. But other than that, really nothing else. There's a few small stories that came out, but nothing like interesting, of course. So I guess we'll go ahead and move on to music news. Really only 2 big stories, or really only 2 big things came out of music news this week, and the first set of them all came from Billboard's Music Awards. If you haven't already heard or seen or whatever it is, so there's this new guy named Miguel, and he is a singer of some sort. I've never heard of him, but he was there at the Billboard Awards and he performed one of his songs that I've never heard of, and so he crowd surfed, or not even crowd surfed, he like crowd leaped over, I guess, I don't know, he jumped over like this crowd of people from one stage to the other. So he ended up missing the stage almost, and barely made it on the stage, and with barely making it, he also brought down 2 girls with him with both of his legs. The girls both were like slammed into the stage. And it's so funny because like one of the girls was like, oh, and the other one was just like, oh, I'm okay, I'm okay. It was totally ridiculous, but like I think the worst part about it was that like Miguel was like, oh, he starts singing like right afterwards as if nothing just happened. He almost didn't just kill 2 girls. No, who cares? His music is so much more important. So that was a thing. That still was a thing. Causing a bit of an outrage, Nicki Minaj gave Lil Wayne a lap dance there at the Music Awards. They have this song called High School, and in the middle of it, during like a music little like breakdown or something like that, she grabs a chair, puts Lil Wayne in it, and you know, starts having some fun in front of a bunch of people, young people, and a lot of parents actually got kind of upset. And I guess really the thing with that was so bothersome is that the song is called High School, meaning like she's supposed to be playing a high school girl, and why is a high school girl giving a lap dance to another guy when they're in high school, and that's wrong. And so apparently Nicki Minaj got a bunch of emails and a bunch of like hate from parents and other people, but you know what, at the same time, I kind of don't really care about this. I think I would have cared a little bit more if it was somebody else, but it's Nicki Minaj, it's almost expected. But at the same time, Nicki Minaj is not like other artists like Selena Gomez, for example, who originally came out and was all like, oh yes, I love little girls, I want to be an inspiration to other little girls. Nicki Minaj never said anything like that, and she, from the start, was already a nasty little girl. Like, we totally knew that from the beginning, so at least she didn't pull off a Selena Gomez and, you know, ended up being in the super stupid Spring Breakers after, you know, coming out and saying she wants to be an inspiration to little girls and then run around in her bra and underwear the whole frickin' movie. So who cares if Nicki Minaj did it, you know what I mean? But if Selena Gomez did it, oh no. Oh no. Speaking about Selena Gomez and her ex-boyfriend, Justin Bieber, Justin won this big award at the end of the thing. I honestly have no idea what the award was for, but like apparently it was like the big kahuna of awards at the end of that, you know, award show or whatever. You know, as he was accepting it, you know, he was making his speech, and there was actually a pretty good number of audience members booing Justin. It was very funny to me, at least. He was there, you know, like, I just want to thank my fans for, you know, loving my music and just being so awesome. And then, you know, everyone was booing him. And you can clearly hear, like, the kids fighting there at the awards, like, shut up! Like, you can, like, it's really embarrassing. I'll also leave a link to that in the description box below. But I don't know. What does that mean? I guess it really doesn't mean anything. Justin has plenty of haters and plenty of, you know, big fans. So I really don't think this affects him very much, but I'm sure this is going to go down in history as one of the most embarrassing moments for him. I certainly don't think this is the end of his career. I don't know why that was a thing. People kept saying like, oh, this is the end for Justin. Definitely not. He has way too many fans over haters to be crushed by being booed during an award speech. Like, there's no way. So nothing too major for Justin, but that was pretty significant and significant enough for us to talk about it for sure. Moving on from the Billboard Awards, let's go ahead and move on to something a bit bigger, a bit more interesting, I guess, for a lack of a better word. Paris Hilton has been signed with Cash Money Records. Now, if you didn't go, that means you don't know that Cash Money Records is Wheezy's label. Some artists you have a slight chance of knowing being signed to this record label include Birdman, Drake, Nicki Minaj, Jay Sean, Bow Wow, Busta Rhymes, Tyga, Mac Main, and of course Young Money. Adding Paris Hilton to this lineup of artists is total craziness, and how Paris Hilton even got the chance to sign with these guys is crazy within itself. But you know what, in all fairness, I really don't think Paris Hilton is that bad. I mean, there are a few things that kind of say otherwise, like this video of her singing Happy Birthday to Hugh Hefner.
Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday, Mr. Hefner. Happy birthday to you.
But her last album that was released in 2006 wasn't terrible. At least she wasn't. The songwriting was horrible, the beats were terrible, everything was horrible actually, but all except her performance itself. She herself actually wasn't bad. It was everything else that made that album horrible. And I think that if Lil Wayne can, take reins of what she's, I guess, kind of capable of doing, then I think this actually could be really great. I feel like if she gets a great beat behind her, I think she can potentially do something great in the music business. Of course, that is something that only time will tell, and I personally don't know much about it, but I will certainly be keeping tabs on this in the coming weeks until she finally debuts her second album, title unknown as of right now, but it should be releasing sometime this summer. So that wraps up AM and the PM news for the week of May 20th. I'm Anthony Michael, and you are welcome. Thanks for watching this episode.